Welcome back to the List Building Lifestyle. I'm your host, Igor Kapitz, and today I'm hosting Nick Penev from Bulgaria, a place where I'm hoping to move soon, who's gonna share with us his journey to success from a salesman to an e-commerce superstar, and later on to become one of the major influencers in the e-commerce JV space, which we'll talk more about in a few. So, Nick, welcome to the List Building Lifestyle.
Thanks, Igor. When are you coming here, man?
Yeah, I'm hoping in about 5 6 months or so because I'm just getting
Okay.
some paperwork legalized and authorized. Then I go to the embassy. Then getting all that paperwork and stuff. So it's this bureaucracy. You gotta love it. I hear it's
Just
pretty dominant over there.
yeah, actually, it's everywhere like that, but just in time for the summer. So thanks for inviting me. You're actually I speak on a lot of shows, a lot of podcasts, and you're probably one of the few that I wanted really hard to speak on. And the reason why I did that is because you had reached that Purdet as a guest, and he's one of the guys that I read the book and I like him and I apply a lot of the stuff he's talking about in the book. So if you know him personally, tell him that he has a cool book, he's a cool guy. But let me just quickly introduce myself. So as Igor said, I've been in the e-commerce and sales for a long, long time now. Right now, I run a few companies, a partnership agency, which helps company to expand for partnerships while paying zero on paid marketing. So I'm a very cheap guy. I've spent a lot of money on paid marketing, so now I teach people how to grow without spending any money for that. Also, I have a partnership network. I have like 1,500 founders in the e-commerce space who I know personally. The network is totally free, and the goal of this network is actually just to connect people so we can do stuff together, grow together, again, without paying anybody anything. And Igor is one of our partners that I've met recently. We went for another reason, but we're doing some other stuff. And the last thing that we did is we have a SaaS solution which helps companies to do proactive referrals and introduction swap. So imagine instead of waiting for a referral to come from somebody, you kind of request those proactively. So that's why our last baby.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like you got lots of irons in the fire. It sounds like you're very connected in the e-commerce space, but you didn't start there. Just like most of us, we didn't go to school for e-commerce. And you were telling me before we got going here that your first job was actually in sales, and it was unique because you were working overnight shifts. Basically, you were selling stuff, but back where most of your friends were asleep.
Yeah, actually, I mean, let me tell you the story. I mean, I finished high school in Bulgaria. I actually took my senior year in 1 month, just in case something messed up with my scholarship in the States. Then I went to the USA. My first day in America was in school was September 11th. I went to school and I was watching the Twin Towers collapse on TV. So that was my first day in school. I went in as exchange student. So, anyways, I mean, that was a long time ago. I finished high school there. I got a scholarship for a university called Fresno Pacific. I went there. I was trying to get my girlfriend to come as well. She got her visa refused 3 times, and I just dropped off school and I just came back to Europe and Bulgaria without telling my parents, because my father told me you're not gonna come back, you're gonna miss this huge opportunity in the USA. Don't come back. And of course, I didn't come back. At least I didn't tell him. But I'm just like that. I mean, I act and then I think it was actually a good decision because see, we're married, happily married. So it was a good call, and that's what happened eventually. Now I came back here. Now I had no education, nothing, but I was good at sales. I mean, I'm not gonna go deeper into what I've been doing before, but my real job was a sales guy in a company called Apples.net, which used to be a GoDaddy competitor. I'm sure everybody knows GoDaddy with the domain names hosting. We're selling domain names in hosting. And the one thing about the company is that the founders were Bulgarians who moved to the States long time ago. They had an office in San Diego, and they also had an office in Bulgaria, in Sofia, which used to work like the night shift. Now we had like 4 p.m. to 1 p.m. and 10 p.m. to 7 p.m. shift. And we had like 200 people there, around like 500 in the whole company. 200 of those were sales guys. So that was my first sales job, and I was actually hired to work actually volunteered to work from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. And when I started, I was told that the longest anybody stayed on this job was 3 weeks, and I did that for 5 years. And the reason for that is because I'm kind of unique into that. Because see, usually no people are not happy because actually they need to change their schedule. We work from 10 to 7 and you sleep during the day. But the thing with me is I don't care about that. I can sleep during the day, during the week, and then when it's Friday, I can just sleep like a baby during the night. So I didn't have any issues with changing like the time where I sleep. This is another reason. The second reason is we made a lot of money. Igor knows how stuff is in Eastern Europe. So 20 years ago, the minimum wage was like probably 200 US dollars. And the second month on the job, I actually did 2000. After a few months, I was doing like 5K per month and even more from commission only. 5,000, it's a lot of money when you're like 23 years old. Can you
No, no, no.
imagine that?
5,000 is a lot of money, period. In fact, when I was visiting Sofia a few months ago, I went to get a haircut. And it's funny because I walked into basically a Syrian owned barbershop. And when they saw me, I got this, Russian looking kind of face. Even though in Bulgaria, a lot of people have, this sort of look. But I walked in and they're like, and I was like, hey guys, can you, squeeze me in? And the owner looks at me like that and he's like, where are you from? And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna tell him that I'm from like Israel. That's not gonna be, smart. So I was like, oh, I'm Canadian, eh? And he's like, all of a sudden he's all smiles, and we got chatting. So anyway, this guy told me, he actually turned out to be a nice guy. He told me that if you're making 5 or 6 thousand euros, no, 5 or 6 thousand leva, which is the local
Mm-hmm.
currency, which is
Like
roughly
half in euro, half in
yeah,
euro.
about 3,000 euros per month in Bulgaria. You can live really, really well. So if you're making 5 to 6 thousand US dollars 20 years ago, you're basically rich.
Yeah, let me tell you another funny story because now my wife, she was girlfriend back then, she was working in a bank and I was picking her up. So once I started making money, I got like a brand new BMW. And the other guys were telling your boyfriend is probably a drug dealer.
A
He
drug dealer,
cannot be
that's right.
driving such cars when he's such a young guy. And for example, my father, he's the head engineer for the airport in Sofia. So the guys there were telling, okay, probably his father is doing some corruption stuff, and he probably bought his son a BMW. So nobody was believing me that it was this like a pure sales job and just doing sales. But I'm like that with sales. I mean, see, the thing with sales is like with most jobs is that usually have like a quota. The quota at Apple's was like seven like thousand US dollars. So whenever you make like 7,000 in sales, you're getting 10% commission. So most guys were doing like 700, and whenever they hit the quota, what they did, they took a
Relaxed.
vacation. They
Yeah.
didn't do anything. So this is probably the one thing that I'm kind of different, and all the good sales guys are different. We're not the best sales guys. Not the best sales guys actually making the most money. The most persistent one is doing that. So when everybody stopped selling, I actually continued selling. I was not happy to be the first, the best sales guy in the company. I was not happy until I was actually doing 2 or 3 times more than the second one. So each week we're getting like the charts for the teams, who is first, who is second. If I was not first, I was getting crazy. I was doing sales call. I was doing like spending like 5 6 hours on the phone, doing like a few hundred calls. And eventually now I built a huge network of clients. So eventually it got easier and easier, but I never gave up. I always was pushing hard. Whenever I was happy with what I did for the month, I didn't stop. I actually started preparing the deals for the next month. So whenever the next month kicks in, I already had some deals going on, and this continued for like 5 years now. I was, like I told you, I had no issues with the sleeps or making money. I got an apartment. I paid it off. By the age of like 26 or so, whatever. And so I have no debt. Since then, this is the only thing that I've ever purchased with any mortgage or credit, by the way. But I got lucky. I got lucky that I found this job, because usually companies don't pay such a huge commission, but they were making a lot of money from us, so they were happy. But eventually, like any fairy tale, or like the real fairy tale, it doesn't end good. So what happens? No, the company grew a lot. They got acquired by another company, and what happens is, in 2010, just before the World Cup, I remember it very well. They told us, "Okay, guys, now we're closing the office." I mean, That's it. So they didn't offer us to work like remotely or anything, So that's it. No, adios, guys. So from doing like 5K plus per month, I went to zero. So and
But you
what
had the
happened then?
skill. You could probably sell something else.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, no, there is other things that happened in the meantime. My girlfriend got pregnant, so I actually got into a car accident at the exact same crossroad in a matter of like 1 week. These are actually the only times in my life where I got into a car accident. The first one was a big one, the car was all messed up. I was okay, but and then I found like a job, like a job at a company running like digital offers, affiliate offers for other companies. And at the time of when this crash and everything happened, no, I know the job was great, but the company was not doing very well. Their accounts were getting suspended, and then they decided to actually run their own offers, develop their own products, and actually start selling those. Not just running somebody else's offers. And in the meantime, I got a call from another company which offered me like a corporate job to represent them in like multiple countries. So they were paying me like 2k euro, which was not what I was doing, but it was much better. So I got the offer, but at the same time, I liked what my employer there was doing or trying to do, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna set up an e-commerce business. That's when I got the idea, because one of the products that they're trying to sell was the so-called acai berry or acai berry, the magic Brazilian fruit. I'm not sure if you know that, but like all this Venice stuff. This guy, Dr. Ross, he got into trouble pushing all this in the States. So we're one of the first who started selling that. And how did it start? I had to convince my other co-founders to actually join me. I told them, okay, my one of my friends, Wacky, I said, Wacky man, build me a website. We're gonna order this stuff from the UK. We found like a supplier. We're gonna just call it, we're gonna just make up a name like a private label and we're gonna sell it here. Okay, man, I don't believe you. Okay, man, build me the website. I'm gonna order them with my money. I'm gonna sell them, and I'm gonna prove to you that we can do it. And he said, okay, man, do that. I'm gonna build a website. So I ordered like 200 units from the UK. We just started running some ads, and we saw that in like within a few days. And the other guys would say, okay, man, let's do that. And then we actually started selling. But everybody is telling us, okay, man, I've seen this product in the UK. It's for 15 euro. There you're selling it for 50 euro. What the heck? And I said, okay, man, we need to change something. We're gonna order our own product. So our first product was called Acai Verde, which means acai green, because it was like a bio, like very good quality. So we ordered our first product and we actually started selling like crazy. But the good thing is that nobody was running Facebook ads. That is in like 2011. So I was paying 1 cent per click in some markets. So we got very early now. The most we ever paid for paid ads was in the Scandinavians. It was like half a euro per click. In like Central Europe, Spain, the pre-Baltics, uh, like in some of the countries, we paid for like 1 cent per click. We had like days where we're doing like 250 USD ad spend and over 200 sales when we're selling a product for like 50 euro. So
Tell
we're
me
buying
you
them.
tell me you built a list.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you the story. This is my biggest mistake. Uh, we built a list of 500 clients from all over Europe. Clients list. Ask me how many emails did we send?
Wait a sec. You were making up to 200 sales per day,
Yeah,
and you were getting the emails of all these buyers.
yeah. Ask me now how many emails did we send to actually sell to those guys over email marketing?
You didn't send any emails, didn't you?
No, man. The reason, yeah, I'll tell you why. No, the reason why we didn't sell anything is because we're the first one. So the company where I work for at the beginning, where I quit, actually we turned into their biggest competitor, and because it was like the wild wild west, we didn't do any brand registry or anything. I made up like a product which is called Extreme Power. So this is the company of my name. We rebranded that, but that was my first product for muscle building. We start selling on all these markets in Europe, and then guess what? What my ex-employer competitor know did? They just copied everything and just called it Extreme Gain, and they start selling it. But there is nothing that we can do because we didn't have brand. The thing is that from idea stage to start selling, it was taking us like 2 to 3 weeks. Uh, my design team was just building the test product page. We do a test campaign, we get sales. I call or message my manufacturer in the UK, and I tell them, okay, guys, we want to order like 10k units of this product, and in 2 weeks we get the products and we start selling those. So we, to be honest, we executed stuff that quickly that we never have actually we didn't have time to actually do this stuff. Profits were huge, so we didn't care about. There was no softwares. I mean, we had to build our own uh, like like fulfillment software because the third co-founder was also a senior developer in Google. So we moved very quickly. We didn't know anything, but we're kind of executing everything very quickly. We had like new products all the time, like smoke deter, like Gritsini Cambodia, Raspberry Keton, all the vanity stuff. And our top product was actually a mail enhancement, how to be hard as long as possible. And this was like one of our best sellers, which people keep on ordering still, even though we're not selling that. And I haven't tested that, but my co-founder partner told me he tested that with his wife, and it works very well. So it was a good product, but we're actually doing like up to like 1,000 sales with the product is called like omnipotence, but the one issue there is that we're advertising that on like adult websites, and at a certain point we got competing for like that space with the dating apps, and
Mm.
sayonara, guys. I mean, we couldn't keep up with those guys, so eventually actually we stopped actually all the paid ads. But the reason for that is a little different. I mean, of course, I mean, Igor, you might have some questions because I can talk forever, why
But
not?
you keep going. It's a really interesting story.
Okay,
So,
okay, sure. So let me tell you what happened. So everything was going very well. We started with like three guys. My wife was actually taking calls to take orders when she was pregnant, at the beginning, and in a matter of like 1 or 2 years, we actually grew to like all the European markets without the Western Europe because those guys were already exposed to what we're selling, and we sold on cash on delivery on, no credit cards. So we had like all the markets in like Eastern Europe, like Central Europe, South Europe, and we had like 50 employees at this stage. And what happened? We're heavily advertising on like Facebook and Google Ads, probably 99% of what we did there. And eventually, now supplements, they're shady business now. One day, we got suspended. I spoke with my account manager in Facebook and said, okay, man, what's up? I mean, tell us, we're going to change whatever you guys say. So they told me, okay, you need to change this and that. No bridge pages, no this and no that. Like, okay, man, we're going to do it as you guys say. So we built everything. 3 weeks later, bam, suspension again. And I said, okay, we're just too dependent on those guys. I mean, we cannot keep on just giving them money now and just relying on those guys. And they said, okay, let's look for partners or like affiliates who are gonna run our offers and who are gonna we're gonna just pay them based on the results that they get. And then actually we switch from doing like almost 100% paid marketing to doing almost zero paid marketing. We just had some Google Ads for like the company pages for each country. So whenever somebody's looking for the brand name, they would find us. So we said, okay, man, this is great. Then we found like a lot of like big affiliates, partners who are actually running our offers. Now, of course, we didn't do anything. We just need to build the landing pages, pay them. Of course, with affiliates, I'm sure you know more than me. There is a lot of abuse there. Even though it's cash on delivery, we had a lot of fake orders. We even had people who are actually making fake calls to confirm the orders, because the biggest issue with cash on delivery is that you get paid once you deliver that. So if the order is fake, you're gonna pay. Actually, the affiliate, you're gonna pay the logistic company, you're gonna make no money. So eventually, no. We start actually going into other directions now with my partners. Now, one of them set up like another company. We got heavily invested in like the crypto industry in 2017. We got some mining machines, so we kind of let the company to be managed by our employees, and eventually we sold everything in like 2020. Reason for that is also because I lost a lot of money uh, playing, I would say, oil futures. I was probably 250,000 pretending to be like a trader. So I was actually in a period where I was just doing dumb stuff. You know what happens when you get lucky at the beginning, when you're early, when it's easy, you actually start making mistakes now. And one of those mistakes is just thinking that everything is gonna work out. So I lost some money with the O features. Then we actually made some bad investments in the crypto. The only good investment was actually buying mining rigs, so we still have the mine, like the mine there, it's mining. But the long story short is that no, it was a good start. We made a lot of money. We never knew at the time when we were at the peak that we can actually sell the company. We weren't about that when we were actually at the end, which we're not doing that great at the beginning. So we kind of wanted to just sell the company so we can just continue running our other businesses. And then, actually, because what I was doing there is actually selling our products for affiliates. So what I was doing is very different to what I do right now. But again, I got work. In my life, most of the things, I see an opportunity and I don't wait. I mean, I go ahead, okay, let's do that, let's test that. So when we were selling the company, I was using a company called Hello Tax for our VAT compliance in Europe. In the meantime, I get to know the founders, which are also ex e-commerce sellers. Actually, they were selling on Amazon, and they told me, "Okay, Nick, you have a lot of experience managing affiliates and partnerships for your own business. Since you're selling the company, can you replicate that for a service provider like HelloTax? Can you advise us about partnerships?" And I said, "Okay, man, why not? I mean, my wife told me that I'm getting dumber if I don't focus on one project, and I'm too young to retire. So let's do it, guys. Now, tell me, show me what you guys got." And because I've been doing that for my own company, I know for partnership to work, you need to be giving more than you're getting. If it's opposite, it's not gonna work out. And I just checked the correspondence with their existing partners, and everybody was complaining that the partnership is one-sided. They want to get business, they don't do anything in return. I told them, okay, guys, you're doing it completely wrong. I mean, you need to start giving to your partners and using your partners as a distribution channel to actually to promote your company. And I have this approach with partnerships. Now I've been doing it before, but with Hello Tax I actually started doing that more. Whenever I meet somebody like I met with you, Igor, I just connect you with some people who would be a better fit or you can do some stuff with. And there is nothing commercial about that. I connect people all the time. And by doing that, now I grew the partner network very quickly, and some companies actually start asking me a question. Okay, Nick, can you advise us about partnerships as well? And I said, okay. You just gave me another idea, man. I'm gonna set up an agency which I'm gonna call a partnership agency, and I'm gonna call the service partnership as a service. So that's what we've been doing for the last 3 years. We help companies to grow through partnerships by connecting them with partners and teaching them how to monetize the partnership. And on top of that, I also build like a partner network with actually like 1,500 founders, which are mostly in the e-commerce space or like in the BizOp. So those guys are either providing a service or they're helping out e-commerce sellers. So what we do there, we kind of connect each other. We help each other. For example, somebody needs something. I have a partner who can help that. If I don't know something or something that somebody needs, I'm gonna email or message like 5 guys and I'm gonna tell them, hey guys, do you know somebody? And we're gonna find the solution. So we kind of help each other. There is nothing commercial for that. Of course, some people are selling their service to others, but the idea is that we're kind of helping each other. Somebody's organizing a conference. We recommend people to go and speak there. Somebody's doing a webinar. We recommend people as speakers. Somebody has a podcast. I recommend speakers for the podcast. We can do like podcast swaps, newsletter swaps. So one of the biggest mistakes that I did with my business, never sending any emails, we're actually using it to the max right now. Email swaps, newsletter swaps is one of the main things we did. And because I did this mistake before, I also built like a newsletter with like 20,000 e-commerce sellers as subscribers, which has like an open rate of over 60%. And we're kind of giving value, getting all the value in return. So somebody would say, okay, this guy is messed up. Why he's helping all these people? Actually, that's a totally wrong assumption. And there is a saying. I'm not sure who said that, but it was something like that. Okay, if you wanna get something, start giving it to others. You're gonna get much more in return. So by helping others, I'm actually doing a favor for everybody. First, if I connect to people, both of them are actually benefiting from that because one might be selling for a service or might be looking for something. So they kind of benefit from that. And because of connecting them, the value of my network grows, which means I benefit indirectly because those guys will know that I connected them. So whenever somebody asks them, okay, can you recommend somebody for this and that? They're going to say, okay, chat with Nick. He's going to know somebody who's going to help. And that's like something that any business owner should do. If you would like to build something, don't sell yourself. Start giving to others. Now, let's say you meet somebody. think who else would be a good fit for them. Don't just keep it for yourself. Try to connect them with somebody else who can benefit from that. And usually, when you do that, it's like pure psychology. It's gonna kick in, and people are gonna ask, "Okay, Nick, what do you want? What can I do for you?" And I tell them, okay, just connect me with somebody who's doing this and that. So you can actually grow your business like that. Whenever you meet somebody, make a connection and ask them, okay, connect me with somebody on your end. And by doing that, you have no idea how many opportunities you can create. And one of those connections that I've done, we actually founded a company, like a SaaS solution. Like 4 companies or more have actually had their companies acquired by that. I actually have a very, very funny case. One guy, I made some 10 connections to somebody, and he told me, Nick, a few months later, Nick, thanks for introductions. We got acquired by one of the people that you introduced us to. So, and there is nothing commercial. See, the thing is, some people think that I'm some messed up guy who makes that. I mean, it doesn't cost me anything to connect people. I win a lot by doing that, and it doesn't need to be commercial because, see, we have a saying for that in Bulgaria. Let's first share the work, then we're going to share the benefit. So there is no point of actually dividing the profits or anything whenever we have not done anything. This is the issue with a lot of people. They always plan. They're worried that they're gonna benefit less than the other guy. If you think like that, you're never gonna do anything. Have an assumption that you're gonna meet people. Do have the same open approach with everybody. Offer them to do stuff, see what they're gonna do in return, and by doing that, you can actually evaluate who is reliable, who is not, who is open, who is not, and that's why a lot of the stuff that I do it's actually free. The free stuff that we do for the network is a way for me to evaluate who is a good for a client. Whoever is a good and I like them for a client, I invite them. If I don't like, I'm not gonna invite you to become a client because if you're not willing to do like I'm doing you a favor, for example, come and speak on my podcast, come and feature. I'm gonna feature in my newsletter. The only thing you need to do is just sign up in the newsletter and just talk with my founder. So if you don't make the effort to sign up for my newsletter, if you don't make the effort to chat with some of those guys who might have clients for you, why should they bother working with you? I'm doing you a favor, and you're not even taking the favor. So these are just some small tricks that you can use for like partnerships and biz up. Just test your like partners by offering them something and see what they're gonna do in return. Because people have a lot of you actually talk too much and do nothing. So you kind of do stuff for people, see how they react, and based on what they do, evaluate them. Now, I'm not a religious guy. I don't, even though my grandmother baptized me without telling my parents, but just judge them by their deeds. Like they say, I think in the Bible. See what people do, not what people say. Uh, and Igor, no, you're not interrupting me, so I'm gonna continue to my last thing that we
No,
did.
unfortunately, you can't continue because we're almost out of time. So I'll consider this to
Yeah.
be part one of this
Okay.
conversation because we have a lot to unpack. I mean, you shared your journey, which in and of itself, I think, is packed to the brim with lessons, both from your sales job all the way to starting your business to getting into partnerships to the way you made decisions there. It's really interesting, and also your attitude towards joint ventures and your philosophy, I guess, when it comes to getting meeting new people and then cultivating those relationships. There's a lot to unpack there, and I want to get together for a part two. So that's exactly what we're going to do because unfortunately we're just out of time for this particular
Okay,
episode.
sure, man. So let's
Um,
do that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, I guess you're gonna cut this part, so we're not gonna continue.
So, guys,
Right.
stay tuned for part two of the conversation with Nick. We're going to unpack his journey to success. We're going to unpack his what seems like a lucky break in sales, which, of course, has nothing to do with luck at all. We'll talk about his attitude towards joint venture partnerships and his system to really fostering and growing profitable partnerships. As you can tell, a big part of his journey actually has to do with relationships and partnerships because in the sales job, you only become very good and very wealthy if you're able to connect with people and build those relationships. And just like Nick said, it gets easier the more you do it because of the network you grow, because of the database you grow. And his now, I mean, these days, his first business as well as what he's doing today, it has a lot to do with joint ventures and partnerships, which is again a skill, not luck. Also, before we wrap up, I do want to point out that Nick mentioned that one of the biggest mistakes was not mailing that list. So he was generating, at least 100 leads, maybe sometimes 200 leads a day, buyer leads a day, and they never really promoted anything else to those leads, which was a big mistake because even though they were making a lot of money, they could have probably tripled, maybe multiplied it by 5 or 7, and that's a lot of Bitcoin mining rigs that they could have purchased later on. So Nick, thank you for doing part one. We'll get part two going, and I appreciate you openly sharing your journey. You're a great storyteller, and you actually have something interesting to say, which isn't exactly what I can say about most podcasts I listen to, because a lot of the stuff is just very repetitive and kind of like take action and persist kind of advice. So thank you for what you do, and I'll talk to you in part two.